Hmm. Wind is blowing this curtain. So this window is open. The only real explanation is that they killed each other simultaneously. Miles Edwards, just listen to someone until they are finished talking. What are you talking about? I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who's truly worthy of the Von Karman name. A competition. The person that figures out the truth first wins. So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name. Exactly. I don't care how you become. You became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things come from your foolishly foolish mouth. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Can I take this as you accepting my challenge? Once again, whatever makes you happy. Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and prettily present it like a professional I am. Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. Kids, over here. Kid. Ha! Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid. I said kids, kid. How dare you call me a kid as well? I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy, you're going to watch over these two. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take it bad, sir. Now, what do I say from now on, kids? Okay? You better not get in our way, Scruffy. You feel the bite of my whip if you do. Then, okay, then you, prosecutor boy. Let's get your investigation started already, alright? Great. Now even that detective is treating me like a child. Alright, it's time to get investigated. Get a move on, prosecutor boy. My name is Miles Edwards. And if you call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. That's already sorry. You just got your job and I'm already threatening you with a salary cut. What? And what would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? That's up to you now, isn't it? Really? Sounds good, pal. Oh my gosh, Gumshoe. He's so naive. Detective Bad, may I have a word with you? What is it? It appears that both the knife and the gun were used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does. That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? The gun was inside Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the corral earlier today. It was used to kill a Cardassian embassy staff member. But I never heard of anything about a knife. Mr. Rao was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which makes it possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well. Could it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? Then why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if? Is it possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence? He could have brought it out and attacked Mr. Well with it. Huh. Maybe you've got a brain there after all, kid. Is he going to treat me like a child forever? Looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Well first, who was then counterattacked. That's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this. Not yet. I feel it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. Let's first find conclusive evidence as to protect the honor of the Von Karman name. There's some stuff in the bag, pal. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably trial evidence that I was supposed to collect from him. This is the evidence? Ah, better not touch it. I'll lay prints on. You just not pay attention to anything you do. There's a plastic bag stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of disturbance. Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. So that removes sign of a struggle. Maybe they were super quiet in a scuffle. After all, I didn't hear anything from the hallway, you know. Maybe the plastic bag scattered on the floor is throwing us off. Yeah, because they're on top of the bags. Why is a plastic bag scattered all around? Bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. You're a gift and stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy. Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men? It looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Well. First glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However, the way they're on top of each other like this, I don't think that them killing each other makes any bit of sense. His only logical conclusion is, aha! What is that outburst for? My detective instinct just hit me real hard. It's Mr. Rell who fell first, see? You don't need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. See, the knife is already switched. That's not... How much blood's on it? Okay, yeah, why is there only blood on, like, the edge? Like, you can see the blood's just on, like, the edge there. It's not, like, all the way around, unless there's, like, more to the knife that we can't see. Looks like Mr. Rell died with a knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. Guess unless he's had a weapon. No doubt about it. Is Mr. Faraday carrying this on his person? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? Jot down notes about it. First, he killed a Codefin Embassy staff member, and then he was murdered himself. This guy wasn't exactly an angel, you know. Oh, what makes you say that? Well, he's been hauled into proceedings several times for theft and assault, pal. So yeah, it's definitely time to have committed a murder or two. Well, he did admit to killing Mr. Deadman. Hey, good point, pal. I knew my detective's intuition was telling me something. Detective's intuition? Yep. Do you know about it? Special feeling that I'll detect. We don't have time for this conversation right now. Let's return to the investigation. Mr. Faraday, How ironic it is for him to lose his life in a courthouse. Yeah, why'd it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. Can't believe it happened while I was on watch, pal. Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes? Yeah. Get back to work. Find out the cause of this murder. Right, I'm on it, pal. His hand's all black down here, see? I wonder what it could be. If you look closely, the blotting pattern resembles an ink stain. He's got an ink stain on his hand. Ink stain? Yes. I usually get ink on my hand when I use my feather pen. A feather pen? I've never seen one before. I'm sure you aren't making it up, pal. Why is a plastic bag scattered all around? Those bags are keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. You're sure good at stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but then this... Oh, the plastic bags are evidence of a fight between the two men. We're not gonna talk about the blood on this bag. Looks like Miss Faraday died while holding this gun in his right hand. So he shot Mr. Well and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun. Guess that seemed kind of strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun? It's not exactly rocket science. Even I know how to pull the trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one. And I definitely will not get accused of using one to kill someone in the future. Definitely not. I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. But it sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hand. It appears that the police screenings procedures need to be a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. Mr. Wells calls a death from someone being shot, correct? Yeah, we need to be able to examine the bodies more thoroughly. That's what we think, but it's hard to tell as I'm lying face down. Death is bad enough. It's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? Can't confirm Mr. Rails' cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are? I believe an examination of the bodies is vital for finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it. Lobby. Yes, sir. I'm taking enough photos of the scene, sir. There you have it. Do you not approve? Of course not. What? Investigation of the crime scene work is detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will you? Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe, don't get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Something in this breast pocket. It's a fountain pen. Okay, so this is probably the pen he was using. How do you know I always keep a pencil behind my ear? It's because Detective Bad is always telling me. You should always write your name on everything you own. Yes, somehow you do strike me as quite a forgetful individual. That was in a test here, see? I wonder if the wound matches with the knife Mr. Weller's pulled. Labby! Yes, sir. Verifying now, sir. Make it quick. From the looks of things, one could deduce that the knife Mr. Well is holding is what killed Mr. Faraday. That's the one Mr. Well got blown away by, right? Abby, your answer. Yes, sir. We found that the ballistic markings do match with the gun, sir. Oh, ballistic markings are, they're the figurative fingerprints of a gun leaves on a bullet when fired. Every gun leaves its own unique ballistic markings. Therefore, by looking at the markings on a bullet, you can tell which gun it came from. Yeah, that's it, of course. I already knew all about it, pal. Maybe you better off going back to the academy. Yeah. Come on, sir. You gotta come in some slack, will you? So the bullet was fired from the gun. It's what felled Mr. Bell. Mr. Farr was stabbed with this knife that Mr. Well is holding. Ouch! What's wrong, detective? Stomach started to hurt just from thinking about being stabbed. Just keep your mind on the case, all right? Shot in the chest. Takes some guts to fire a gun in the courthouse. I mean, I've been a detective for a whole week and I still haven't fired a single round yet. How? Or are you just referring to since you become a detective? Because you should have some training with shooting. There aren't any burn marks on his clothes. That must mean. Yeah, wasn't point blank. That becomes a problem. Wait, burn marks? Around grows very hot as it's discharged from the fireball. Therefore, burn marks are usually left when a shot is fired at from point-blank range. Ergo, Mr. Well must have been shot from at least a yard or two away. You sure do know a bunch of neat stuff at your age, pal. Apparently, the detective has as much common knowledge as your everyday person. Now, let us try to understand how the two men died. First, Mr. Faraday took the gun and the knife out from today's trial evidence. Then he aimed the gun at Mr. Relly and fired. However, Mr. Relly managed to grab the knife and counter Mr. Faraday while being shot. The two men fell together where they stood. That is my theory in any case. It's definitely not how it's gonna go. It's definitely gonna be more to this. Still, something about that explanation just doesn't seem right. I believe I now have a firm grasp on what happened here. That splotch on Mr. Faraday's hand. I wonder if it might be from the ink in his fountain pen. Oh, let's ask the lab guy. Detective Gumshoe. I've confirmed that the substance of Mr. Faraday's hand is the ink from this fountain pen. I see. Good work. You know, I've always wanted to say that. It was just a one time in my life. Oh, Gumshoe, Gumshoe, Gumshoe. Mr. Faraday wrote with his fountain pen in his left hand. I think it's fair to assume he was left-handed, and the gun is in the wrong hand. It appears that Mr. Faraday's pen is very important to our case as well. Okay, if you say so, pal. There's a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle. In which case, might there not be another explanation as to how they got there? Huh? Another reason? I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow. Please get your blood away from me, pal. Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on this bag? Hold on, let me ask the lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Until you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. The detective said he didn't find anything else on the bag either. It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence. Okay, if you say so, I'll leave it in your hands, pal. Can't do a deduce? Like, the ink is not on his right hand, and he's holding a gun in his right hand. That clearly means he did not fire this gun. He would not be using his right hand to fire the gun. I see. Did you figure something out? This is a competition, Miles. I'd such appreciate if you didn't talk to me. As you wish. Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal. Gumshoe, no one cares. Perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge. Ah! That's way too noisy. Yours a noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. The foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to cure up on. The window is open, and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air. Flowers in the garden down there are so gross and gassy. Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change? Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. And I wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after they fall from the third floor. Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows? Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through the window, Pat, right? They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice. There's not much left to investigate, huh? They really did kill each other. No. We can't conclude that quite yet. There's still something I find very peculiar here. The theory that they simply killed one another is too simplistic in this case. In fact, there is actually a contradiction that shows there is another possibility. No way, pal. Really? I suppose I will just have to show you the contradiction in this crime scene. Okay, now it's letting me do it.
Eureka!
Now we come face to face with the contradiction I spoke of, and it is this. Mr. Faraday used his left hand to write with his fountain pen. Ergo, he is left-handed. And yet the handgun is in his right hand. Don't you find that odd that the left-handed Mr. Faraday would hold the gun in his right hand? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the great contradiction haunting this crime scene. Hey, alright, pal. That does seem kind of strange. But how could something like that happen? The fact adds up to one conclusion, and one alone. Someone else put the gun in Mr. Faraday's hand after he died. Someone else? Plastic bags scattered on the floor and a gun in the wrong hand. I sense the presence of a shadowy figure behind this case. A person of violent intent who's serious about keeping the truth from us. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. Rell survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from stabbing. Instant deaths from stabbing, interesting. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course. This began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage of being accused and tried to kill the defendant. The defendant fought back and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt. Yeah, no, no. It doesn't work, Francisca. Because if Mr. Faraday died instantly after shooting Mr. Rell, Faraday would not be on top of Mr. Rell. That doesn't make any bit of sense. Do you really believe that to be the truth? Ha! Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you? That you don't want to believe it's true? It's alright. If you disagree with my argument, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Bring it on, Francisca. Don't worry, I will. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rell survived for a short time. From this is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rell. And Mr. Rell, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. So there's the facts of this case. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, therefore he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. In that case, I should look for any holes in her theory. Now, I feel like we just present a crime scene on one of her statements. I think it's likely this one. And Mr. Rell, on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Mr. Faraday shouldn't be on top.
Objection!
Nope.
Hold it!
So you believe that the dying Mr. Rell stole the knife from Mr. Faraday. Mr. Rell became desperate and did not want to die. Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled. And in the end, Mr. Well was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a testament to their struggle. Okay. You're saying there's no struggle, even though, like... Yeah. Can you really say that is perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise. So if you would amend that statement to your testimony. Fine.
Objection!
If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. Ha! You placed too much faith in that detective's testimony, you know. For the sake of argument, the scissor wasn't a fight. How then did Mr. Well get his hand on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It's not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Well saw a chance and took it at some point. So, what you're saying is this. Mr. Well took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from his bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Well after being stabbed. No, that's not what we're saying. There's something strange in Francisca's statement just now. It's off. Something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Well after being stabbed. Do we not have the autopsy? Oh, it's probably just this.
Take that!
According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed with the knife. Ergo, he could not have possibly fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there's only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Rell attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Rell. Therefore, Mr. Rell must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. That is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francisca. I just want to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only foolish fools like you could. How naive of you to believe that your only opinions are valid. And still expect to discover the truth that the crime scenes offer you. Francisca, you still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a flaw in my logic? Mr. Faraday died instantly. And the fact that he did is what gives rise to the contradiction in the scene. The contradiction here is the crime scene is the order the bodies fell. Let me get this straight. What you're arguing is this. Mr. Faraday took the gun from his evidence bag and shot Mr. Rell. And technically speaking, in a real world, that gun would not have any bullets in it. But, you know, welcome to Ace Attorney, where they just bring evidence like this and it can be used against the court. It's fine. Then the wounded Mr. Rell found an opportunity to take the knife and strike back. Upon being stabbed, Mr. Faraday died on the spot, and Mr. Rell died thereafter. If that's the case, then how do you explain this? Take a good look at the order in which the bodies are piled. No. Mr. Faraday's body is lying on top of Mr. Rel's. Therefore, Mr. Rel must have died before Mr. Faraday. Impossible. Yes, I agree it seems strange no matter what angle you approach it from. Which means that the real mystery behind this crime scene is obvious. No, not so fast, Miles Edgeworth. What now? I simply think that you ought to think a bit more outside the box. That is even clearer now that the incident started with Mr. Faraday's murderous intent. She sure bounced back quickly. An explanation won't be enough this time. I'm going to take some very decisive evidence to prove her wrong. It was just chance that Mr. Faraday's body fell on top of Mr. Rel's. Two bodies fell into a pile, which indicates they attacked each other at the same time. Nope. Nope. Sorry. Does not work. It really doesn't matter in the slightest if they fell in the opposite order. I just know that Francisca's explanation isn't absolutely correct. All I have to do is find a hole in her logic. A literal non-burning hole? Once I do, I can present her with the evidence that proves the contradiction.